Hello and thanks for joining this Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, NDUME meets OSINBAJO, vows not to step down for LAWAN over Senate presidency, as KALU makes case for Southeast to produce deputy Senate president. Worsening insecurity grips Nigeria. Bandits killed 20 in Kaduna as Defense Ministry warns traditional rulers, politicians against conniving with criminals. And later on the show, Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company draws battle line with IJESA land over attack on electricity staff. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamiu. So if you are ready for this, let the hangout start now. Glad to have you join us. The great British statesman Benjamin Disraeli once said, "Through perseverance, many people win success out of what seemed to be destined to be certain failure." Could this be the lot of Senator Ali NDUME? In his bid to clinch the Senate presidency in the night assembly, even when the odds are stacked against him, the Borno South senator insists in contesting against his party's adopted candidates, that's Senator Ahmed Lawan. After a meeting with Vice President Yemi OSINBAJO at the presidential villa in Abuja, Senator NDUME said he will not step down for the Senate leader in the race for the job. Meanwhile, the position of the Deputy Senate President is also keenly contested ahead of the inauguration of the next National Assembly in June. Newly elected Senator from Abia, that's Orji Uzor Kalu, wants the Southeast to produce the next Deputy Senate President. Let me start from Ali NDUME. Babajide, Ali NDUME in 2015 was part of the people that moved against their party, and he was the majority leader at the national stage before Senator Bukola Saraki actually made Ahmed Lawan. And Ali NDUME was seen as, to have joined Bukola Saraki to go against his party. Now Ali NDUME is now saying he has a right, that he wants to exercise his own right to be voted for. And there's no stopping him. I actually met him during the election, and the way what I saw, and he was in the company of one other senator. He seems to be doing his underground work. So what would this portend to the APC when they can't reach a consensus to produce one candidate?
It's extremely bad for the APC. We had warned against this kind of scenario, but lust for power and sometimes extreme optimism are characteristics consistent with Nigerian politicians. Ali NDUME cannot win that election. I don't know who told him that he can win the Senate presidency. It's extremely easy to predict the outcome. Once Ali NDUME is on the ballot, it's extremely easy for me to predict that he will not win. And I want to be recorded as having said that if he stays on that ballot, if he contests, he will not win. He will merely have wasted his time.
And divide the APC votes.
So if his goal is simply to divide the votes of his party, then what kind of a party man is he? But this is the same Ali NDUME that would not even have returned to that Senate if not for the governor of Borno State. Because a big chunk of his own people rebelled against him. But the governor had to move around begging the traditional rulers of Biu, of Goza, and other people to let NDUME return to the Senate. And I know that the governor has appealed to NDUME, but he will not listen to the governor who made him to return to the Senate. I don't know why politicians are like this. The governor who ensured that you return to the Senate, he cannot talk to you and then you listen. In a race that you are destined to lose. How you call there's no magic by which he can win that election. We are saying these people are listening to us. There's no way by which he can win. All he can do is play the role of a spoiler for his party, which will be very bad. There's nothing wrong in a party saying, look, we have zoned this position to this part of the country. There's nothing wrong in the party trying to get everyone to pull in the same direction on a matter like this. PDP did it for so many years. It wasn't David Mark that on his own was just imagined as Senate president. He was backed by his party. So what is wrong in a party saying, look, this is where we are going. This is where we want this thing zone to. This is the choice of the party leadership. Because, look, how did even LAWAN become majority leader? Just in the interest of peace. In the interest of peace, because they knew, Saraki knew that LAWAN was the choice of the party for Senate president. So in order to accommodate the tendencies angry with him, then LAWAN had to be brought in. The same thing with Gbajabiamila, because Gbajabiamila had lost out in the contest. So we have a situation in which it is clear now that this is where the APC leadership is heading. And within the APC, some individuals are getting up because it's not the only one. Goje is still in the race. Goje saw the president, but Goje is not the sort of person who can look the president eyeball to eyeball and say, Mr. President, no, I will continue. So it was a kind of silence of the graveyard, but he's still very much in the race. So when he steps out of that meeting, just like what Kwankwaso did that last time on the eve of his defection, you would think that everything is also not.
We came for a family meeting.
It was a very successful meeting. But at the end of the day, Goje met the president, but he's still in the race. He's still spending money. He's still reaching out to people. He's still having sleepless nights. And he's the one that the governors want. The governors who are in the Senate. This is the thing.
Outside the interest of their party.
You know what those governors are saying, Ayo? Because it's important that we let Nigerians know how they are thinking. They are saying that all of these people in the Senate, that they as former governors put them there. That why should they now be answering sir to the same people that they made? You get my point? So what they want is one of their own should be the Senate president. They will be happy to say sir to that one than to say sir, Senate president sir, to the person that they made. You get the logic. You see the way they are thinking. And they are spending so much money. So
because they have it.
They have tons of cash. So the race for the Senate remains very, very dicey even up till now. And as I said last week, there's a lot of work left to be done.
Mujid, what are you reading between the lines, the dynamics of, let's face the Senate now?
I see indiscipline, I see greed, and I see ego. Those three things. I mean, internal democracy is not yet deep because having learned from the 2015 experience where the incumbent Senate president came through the back door and he told Nigerians the story of how he emerged in defiance to the party's choice.
How he stayed in the National Assembly
overnight, slept at the car park. All those one is history now. But then, I think NDUME and Goje should learn from what Saraki is presently going through. Saraki today is a bigger loser in the political equation of Nigeria than even Atiku that lost the presidential election because of his ambition and what pushed him to go against the party. You see, this character should understand that the president of Nigeria, you see, we are lucky that we have a Buhari who don't want to wield the big stick, honestly. You can't try all this with Obasanjo.
At all.
No, you can't. And we will say Buhari is dictatorial. But like he's saying that he has met with the party caucus, he has told now he's showing his body language, but some people are pretending to read his body language because I want to believe that he is fully behind the leadership of the party in endorsing Ahmed Lawan. And like Jide said, for NDUME and Goje, even if all the governors sponsor Goje and NDUME together, it's going to be a Herculean task for either of them to emerge, because it's like you have a Baka team facing Enugu Rangers in an international clubs competition. You can almost always predict the outcome. Or PSG facing Kano Pillars. that is what we're going to have. And now the legislators, the senators, they are learning. They are quite aware of the powers of the federal government. I mean, you can't afford to stand against the powers of the federal government of Nigeria. This is like the powers are quite enormous. Saraki tried it, but at the end of the day, they waited for him, and look at what is happening to him. He's lost almost everything. Everything. So, I think
Atiku didn't lose everything.
Atiku didn't lose everything. Yes, Atiku won it, but you see, NDUME should learn from this, and he should also know that, you see, there's no way. Saraki is still very powerful. He still has his own, despite the fact that he's not coming back, he has some of the guys that are loyal to him. They won't want to see an NDUME leader, especially given the fact that Saraki opposed his emergence as a leader. I know he was also suspended. So he went through a lot. So it's going to be a difficult...
they won't support him.
They won't support him. So, and Lawan, the people see Lawan as somebody who's liberal. I mean, even he has friends in the opposition, in the major opposition, the PDP. And apart from that, we have some of the senators that the PDP are even trying to woo from the APC. They are giving information to the Lawan group that this is what PDP is trying to do, because at the point, PDP was trying to actually harness or harvest 13 senators from the APC, but they met with a brick wall. I mean, now, if they think that, if NDUME thinks that what happened in 2015 will repeat itself, where somebody will go behind and convene the National Assembly where some others are, it won't happen, because once beaten, is twice shy.
Jide, I'm very concerned about what Ojizo KALU and Rochas Okorocha, what they've been talking about. Now, they've said, okay, since the party has decided in its wisdom to go for Ahmed Lawan, that the deputy senate presidentship should be zoned to the southeast. At least let their region have a feel of this for balance.
Well, I have no opposition to that, and I also do not believe that strictly positions should be distributed based on the pattern of voting. I don't think that totally makes sense. So I'm not opposed to the agitation. It's up to the party to decide where it wants to zone the deputy senate presidency. One would want to imagine that if the Southwest gets the Speaker of the House of Reps, that would be the natural thing to do. So it's a legitimate aspiration, and the fact that the APC didn't win in those areas does not mean that in future that it cannot do well in the Southeast. They just have to keep working hard. The elections we had before now, they didn't even do as well as they did this last time. You know,
it was better.
Yes, in previous
2019.
elections, APC at least didn't even have a state. Well, at some point, APC had a state in the Southeast, and in previous elections, APC didn't even have any federal lawmaker from that part of the country. But you see, this time around, they've won elections into National Assembly. So there's progress being made, and to that extent,
For KALU himself to have even made
yes,
inroads into
KALU won.
Abia State.
KALU won.
It's something that's big.
Uwajumogu too won. You know, although I don't know why they are holding on to his certificate of return. So people have won the election, you know, from the Southeast on the banner of the platform of the APC. So it's a legitimate aspiration to want to demand for the Deputy Senate presidency to be zoned to them. But as I said, if you know the way vote buying is also going on in this contest. Serious vote buying.
At that level.
Yeah.
Yes, vote buying.
Yeah.
Many of these lawmakers are broke. After contesting the election and spending so much money, they are broke. They don't have enough money to prosecute their cases at the tribunal. You know, and they know they will to spend money at the tribunal. So this is the time when those who are interested in those positions and their representatives and their campaign managers and all that are coming out to say, look, we can help you to defray the cost of litigation, we can help you, you know. So, you know, I told you back then, that was one of the reasons why Saraki was able to garner so much support, because even some of his colleagues, he financed the election of some of his colleagues into the National Assembly. So money is going to play a big part, has even begun to play a big part. If you know how much, in fact, there is a particular senator who, after being told that another senator had taken some millions from the other side, in order to be sure that he would stay on their side, he had to go and find that amount of money and give him. Look, you just need to return this money. So is that bad? And that senator that we are talking about is a very strong APC senator. So when it comes to money and people have use for it,
So it's not just...
you never can. You see,
It's not just the downtrodden.
it will test their
That
loyalty.
people, they buy their
Sebi is
vote.
Fashola who talks about test of loyalty.
May your loyalty not be tested.
No, loyalties will always be tested, whether we like it or not, at every point. And that is not a prayer that will be answered. Loyalty will be tested at every point. If you are working in a place where we are, your loyalty will be put to test. If you are the president's minister, your loyalty will be put to test. You know, the loyalty being put to test is a normal thing in this environment. So I just told you, the person who is strong in the APC and went to take some millions from the other side because he wants to defray election cost and all that. Is that not loyalty that has been put to test? So this is the thing. The vote buying is going on as we speak. The election has not come. And even the candidates are traumatized that they have, so they still have many weeks to go. And every day they are spending money just to keep people on their side. Which kind of election is this? I mean, if it was just simply easy for the party to say, this is where we are going, and people will agree, it will not have reached this stage. But our electioneering, our political culture has changed from the Awolowo era, when the party will just say, this is where we are going, and everybody queues behind the party. Because in those days, party-sponsored candidates. You know, these days, individuals sponsor themselves to win elections. So when you
is
talk to
part
them,
of
they will not listen. So it's a terrible situation.
Now, from feelers and from people who have been speaking with now, the strategy of the opposition is very clear now. Once the ruling party is saying that this is the person I'm endorsing, their own is for people like NDUME, for people like Goje to be around, so that the people you've endorsed will openly give our votes to this other person in order to make sure that you don't achieve your aim, replaying the script of 2011 and 2015.
Yes, I started by saying that party discipline, greed, ego, and greed and money. Jide said much about that. As I speak, like Jide said, between $30,000 and $50,000 are moving around.
Yes.
$50,000.
Yeah, between
House of Reps,
$30,000.
$30,000.
Yes, House of Rep, $30,000. Senate, $50,000. Yes, and when you do the conversion, you
Even amongst multimillionaires.
yes, no, it's not all of them that are multimillionaires. Some of them,
not all of them.
some of them,
are new.
Some of them are new, and they spend a lot of money prosecuting this election. So they're
broke.
They're on ground zero. So they need a lift. So and you need to see the kind of pressure that is already coming on them, because I can tell you this because my immediate elder brother, of course you know, he just won an election, and I know the pressure they are putting him to.
Hakim.
Yeah, so even at the local level, so that's at the State House of Assembly, so you cannot imagine, and that's why tactically the National Assembly decided to put the induction of members. I don't see the rush for putting the induction at this time. So the induction is it's not really induction per se.
It's just to harvest the
It's
opportunities.
harvest. They should have termed it harvest time. It's to harvest.
That induction course that they are going through.
Forget about induction. They are doing more things than induction there. So a lot of strategy going on there, because now the target is like Dugala said. Dugala said they should allow the members to pick their own choice. Nobody should impose. Now, like Jide also said, if they see that the target, the APC leadership has affirmed or has endorsed LAWAN, then they pick somebody like NDUME and Goje. Know how, whichever way, NDUME will have his own people. So, meanwhile, somebody will still come up from the PDP. So, in a situation where NDUME and Goje succeeds in breaking
The vote of APC.
the vote of LAWAN,
At the end of it.
we might have a dark horse or a blue horse or a blue sheep coming from the PDP. So, but
the
then,
PDP have shown that they can be more united in matters like this.
yes.
If we go by what
Yes.
happened in 2015.
In 2015.
Yes.
Because they gave block votes to Saraki.
To Saraki.
Because he negotiated away the deputy Senate
Deputy
president.
Senate President.
So nobody knows what Goje is negotiating.
I'm looking at a different scenario in the House of Representatives, Jide, lastly on this. As at the last count, like a dozen lawmaker want to contest for the speakership. And with what I saw, I think Bajabiya Mila should not have much problem, because, but they are all APC members from the list I've seen so far. They are all APC members. So they are going to substantially, that 211 votes from APC lawmakers in the House, they are going to make sure that if a consensus,
16
if consensus is not reached sharp, it's dangerous.
It is. But I think there is still time. They are working hard. People like Faleke, Abdulmomin, Jibrin, they are having sleepless nights over this matter. They are working hard, talking to their colleagues and trying their best. Yeah, trying their best to get as many people as possible. They can't force some people to step down.
And you cannot be the speaker.
But
there's only one person that will manage.
But they can keep working hard at getting the right number. The right number will deliver victory to them. So that's what, they can't stop. You know, since 2 weeks ago, someone told me that, look, forget it. Goje will run. Forget it. Goje will run. And that's what we are seeing. He's visited the president, but his aspiration is very much alive. So this is it. You can't stop those who want to contest, but you will focus on your own candidate and how you can get the right number of people, you know, to vote for your candidate, to be on your side. And treachery is an important character of our politics. You see someone who will say, I'm very loyal to this person.
And it's going to be by secret ballot.
Yes, you see, that person that you think is loyal to you may end up voting for your opponent. Because when someone was talking to me about what one senator said, I said, God, this same senator was telling me that whatever happens, it is going to be LAWAN. And they are both from the Northeast. But what that one is says, no. I said, what? So we just wait. We wait. But for the party and for the contestants, one thing we can say is that the battle is still very much open. They have to keep working hard. There's a lot of work left to do. If the APC is to ensure that what happened in 2015 does not happen again. Because I know that the PDP, having lost that election, their goal now will be to embarrass the APC.
In a very bad way. Still to come, worsening insecurity grips Nigeria. Bandits killed 20 in Kaduna as Defense Ministry warns traditional rulers, politicians against conniving with criminals. We'll be right back after this time out. It's still Journalist Hangout. It's your favorite program, Journalist Hangout, reaching you from the television station of the year. Insecurity is on the rise in Nigeria, and the people are now gripped with fear over widespread tales of tears and blood. From Kaduna, where bandits killed about 20 people, to the deaths of 14 villagers in Katsina and in Ondo, which recorded a bank robbery that claimed 7 lives. The country was inundated by sad news of insecurity. In the face of this daunting security challenge, the Ministry of Defense has warned traditional rulers and top politicians conniving with criminals to retrace their steps. According to a statement by the defense spokesperson, Colonel Tuko Gusau, the ministry is concerned about security challenges in the Northwest and will not hesitate to deal with sponsors of armed banditry. Babajide, there was a time that some traditional rulers were placed under suspension in Zamfara State for having links with these bandits.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why a traditional ruler will have links with armed bandits that can come and do, and wreak havoc to his subjects.
It's greed. It's greed, and basically, the bandits in Zamfara, they are very well organized, and they are organized because from the money that they make, they pay informants, they pay district heads for information about the movement of big people in those communities. So it's extremely difficult for even the military and the police to track them. You know, they operate on highways. The informants notify them of troops movement. So once they are aware of troops movement, you see them, they will retreat into the bush. Once the troops leave, they will go back to the highway and be attacking travelers. This is what has been happening for long. And the governor at that time decided to descend on those district heads, I think about 9 of them. But the killings didn't stop because any form of business in Nigeria that has a huge profit margin, it's extremely difficult to get our people to get off that kind of business, they will, even at the risk of death, they will continue to do that business. So in Zamfara, those big people, there was a particular bandit that was interviewed after he was arrested. He said he does not even know his boss, because there are layers. The people, the aides of his boss, there are so many of them, just like Evans too did.
Yeah.
So you can't reach, if you arrest the bandit, you can't reach the big man,
Yeah.
who is on top. So if they take like 10 million from you now as ransom, maybe the 3 or 4 of them who are the foot soldiers, maybe at worst what will come to them is just about 100,000 each.
Yeah.
So this is the way this crime is organized. It's so organized that we need serious intelligence gathering, and as Governor Yari said, equipment. I was watching one bandit boasting in one video that, look, we have guns. Mona de Bindigogi de Makami. We have guns, we have ammunition. It was boasting, and they showed those guns. So some of the things that they have, even the military, in that location, they do not have.
That
So,
bad.
yes, it's that bad. Because from the money that they are making, they are investing a lot on weapons from the black market. So this is the situation. And as I said yesterday, we really have to go all out. In Kaduna, the people that were killed were killed not really by bandits, but by the same remorseless gang of bloodthirsty people who have been slaughtering people for fun in Kajuru. You know? Clearly these deaths are being sponsored, and there are people who are actually behind this rampaging gang of killers who go to southern Kaduna to simply slaughter people. So the governor of the state has to be on top of his game. They can't be killing people in Brinengwari, killing people in southern Kaduna. You are unable to stop people from killing your subjects. If you need to go to Abuja to get...
That place that you said you had a job already when you wanted to lose the
Yes,
election.
he has to do it.
So that means he has access. He
Otherwise,
should go and-
somebody else will come up the way Kadaria came up and describe him as the most useless governor. Because the killings in Kaduna are very consistent. Nobody can deny that. It has even gone beyond the point when anyone can say it's exaggerated. Because if I show you the timeline of killings in Kaduna, Kaduna, when it comes to bloodletting, Kaduna is one of the worst in our country. And it's very bad. The governor has to do his best to make sure that this killing stop. Otherwise, it's a blot on whatever achievements he has recorded in the state. This is a fact.
Mojid, it was in Ekiti. Now, those armed robbers moved to Idoani, and the way they operate, they come with explosives, blow up the door, the security doors, and you know these guys are more or less militants.
I was disturbed when I saw the pictures of the attack on that branch of the New Generation Bank in Idoani, where I think about 6 or 7 people lost their lives. You will see that it was a carefully planned operation, and for them to have done that, I mean,
They said they were there for hours.
yeah, for hours, a grenade must have been used to. It was the whole metallic door was uprooted. I mean, from the pictures I saw. But I think there's a ray of hope in that the military claimed to have arrested one of the suspects who took part in the robbery. We don't know yet, but then that's what they are telling us. But beyond that, I think we need more of intelligence gathering and sophisticated equipment to tackle these characters. Because if you see the way they operate, I mean, it's like a ring. Like you just said, you find a situation where even up till now, people are still being kidnapped, and a lot of ransom is being paid, and they pay it, I mean, they collect the ransom in such a way that you cannot trace them. They will warn you, I mean, like a former commissioner, yes, a former commissioner in Ekiti was kidnapped about 2-3 months ago, and when he described the way they collected the ransom, it's almost foolproof. It's difficult for you to trace them. They'll tell you, move from so point, you don't know where they are following you on phone, move for so point, drop whatever you have, then keep moving. So even if there is any trail, you will have, even if the monies are marked, and they will tell you should not bring mint. So they should
not bring mint.
Yes, which could be traced. So you have to bring old notes, and it has to be cash, because they know that mint could.
They don't agree to transfer.
That is it. So we need to improve on our security architecture in the country, because like, how can, what in Iduani, for example, I presume there should be a divisional police station in that place, and how far is Iduani to the next town where reinforcement could be called for? So when they do this kind of thing, the kind of damage that was done, you can see that. Now, for them to do this and also go to the vault of the bank, before you can go to the vault of a bank, I mean, you need between 30 minutes and 1 hour minimum. So, and for that action to be carried out without any body,
without any hindrance.
Without any hindrance. What we did in Ekiti State when the governor came was to get the military, the DSS to form a patrol team, and now the incidents has really reduced in Ekiti State. Probably they have migrated to Ondo.
Jude, even Lagos is not safe again, because I was told that Ikorodu road, that is because of the fireman that was kidnapped. That is what escalated the story to make headline. That is a regular occurrence there. That kidnappers are back in Lagos and they get ransom regularly. Kidnap people and get ransom.
Yeah, it's because they continue to get away with it. It's not, it's a lot worse in Kaduna. The Kaduna-Abuja highway, when it comes to kidnapping, is the most dangerous in this country.
Yeah.
It's the most dangerous. Thank God for the rail that Goodluck Jonathan's government came up with. Kaduna-Abuja rail. Honestly, a lot of our big men would have been kidnapped. Today, they are the ones yes, because big men are they are unwilling to travel by road because they know they will be kidnapped. So they are the ones who are always asking for tickets. So in order to make money, this will hoard the ticket for big men. The rail was basically instituted for poor people like you and I, but billionaires now who abandon their vehicles and be entering train.
SUVs.
Yes, and be entering train because they know that safety. That Abuja. Look at the day El-Rufai and his people had to save some travelers who had been kidnapped. But by the second day, they struck on that highway and kidnapped people again. In Chikun local government in Kaduna, they now go into people's homes to kidnap them. It is that bad. So kidnapping has become more or less like the biggest business in our country. And no part of the country is insulated. Yeah. If moving from
Lokoja Kogi route too.
Yes, even some parts of Niger.
Niger.
Some parts of Niger. Now, see Fontua Road, Brenegwari Fontua Road, excellent road. You drive, it's a smooth road, but you dare not use it. Because if you try it, they'll come and pick you up. They come and pick you up. Entire luxury bus They will hijack and tell people, even Port Harcourt, this, what's it called, the East-West Road, they also kidnap people on the road. So
Okada.
they continue to kidnap our people. And unfortunately, it's the poor people who cannot afford ransom that they are kidnapping. And in the process, they kill a lot of them. Yeah. If they keep you after some days, if your people are not forthcoming, they will just waste you. I saw the interview of one of those kidnappers. Yeah. When the police were asking him, he said, so why did you kill this? He said, because his people refuse to pay. I just waste people. These young boys, human life means nothing to them. So we have to declare a state of emergency on kidnapping. It has become a really big problem in our country. Within townships now, you never can tell who is monitoring you, who is giving information to kidnappers. That's what is happening in Katsina. You go to Katsina, people are very careful. Well, those local governments, those dangerous local governments, you can be picked up anytime. So it's such a big problem.
All right, let's move on. Light and darkness by nature are not compatible. So for Nigerians who desire steady power supply and the various electricity distribution companies who they blame for outages, there can be no love lost. After a protest by irate youths in IJESA land in Osun State, the Elisha Business Office of the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company has cut off the community. Now, the distribution company has joined the battle line between IJESA land by insisting that power cannot be restored due to attacks on electricity staff and extensive damage on its facility. Who blinks first in this battle? What's happening here? Mojit, can you shed light to it?
But on this code, it's saying that the Elisha district is owing 3.7 billion.
What?
3.7 billion.
Not million.
3.7 billion. So, beyond, I think they were waiting for that attack by the youths to actually go. Now, there are two issues there. They said the district is owing 3.7 billion, and I wonder how. Elisha district, not even the whole of Osun State. And they said the damage by the youth to their installation is 240 million naira, that they can't bear that cost. So, for almost 3 weeks now, Elisha has been in darkness. In fact, a guy even made a video where he was complaining. And
this kind of weather?
On the kind of weather. So, now, but I think government should step in, or rather the regulatory agencies should call for a truce, because how can you say Elisha is owing 3.7 billion? From when to what time? And this discourse, these distribution companies, you find out that even when your transformer breaks down, it is the community, despite the fact that they are now privately owned, it is the community that would contribute money to repair. If a pole is damaged, or if anything goes up wrong, most of the time, you recall that even in Benin, for Benin Disco, the governor had to chase out the management of Benin Disco from his office. I mean, as a result of things like this, we just bring up a bill. In Oyo State recently, they said a particular government office was owing 200 million, and I went for an audit where they were billing the government 50,000 naira per month. There is just one bulb in that office, and they were billing the government 50,000 naira. And they said, how do you measure your... They now said, yes, they have a substation where they expect certain amount of money from that substation. Yeah. So those who are not metered, they now spread the money on estimated billing. And I think...
That's criminal.
Yeah, people should actually go to court, because now if you give people estimated billing, or if you overbill them and it's found out, you can actually take them to court now. And I think like I said, government should actually wade into this Ilesha matter, because people, if you are not giving me my desired, and now we don't even have
the state government cannot speak of that bill. They don't have the capacity.
3.7 billion. The only viable business in Ilesha is international breweries, and they have since moved to Ogun State, to Shagamu. So, where is the 3.7 billion coming from? Who are the people? Where are the industries in Ilesha that NEPA is expecting? I mean, that the Ibadan Disco is expecting 3.7 billion from? And what is the value of the installation that was damaged that will require 240 million naira to put back in shape? So these are questions that the Ibadan Disco must explain to us.
Jide, I don't understand of these guys, because what he's just said is that there are some areas, they look at it, prime areas, and they will say, oh, this commercial area in Ogba or Ikeja, this is how much they're going to spread it evenly among them, especially if they don't have prepaid meters. So what is happening in Ilesha right now?
Yeah, you see, what happened in Ilesha is regrettable. And both the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company and the people who attacked were wrong. It was irresponsible of those youths to have attacked the electricity staff. It was also irresponsible of Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company to have disconnected electricity supply to the whole of IJESA land because of an incident in one part of
localized area.
One IJESA community.
Yeah.
You get the point. Now, there are 6 local governments in IJESA land. Something, they beat up your staff in one community. In anger, you now disconnected
The whole Ijesha land.
the whole Ijesha land. So there were protests over 4 days, culminating on the 18th of March. It was the last one that was really bloody. Those youths, you know, they damaged even the camera of TVC. Yeah. They were the same people who called TVC, come and we are protesting. You know the way mob behaves.
Yeah,
come and cover our protest. There's not giving us light. And our people went there. The next thing, they started beating up our people, damaged the camera. The boys ended up in hospital. You called us, not that we were interested in your troubles. You called us. Those boys were in Osogbo. You called them to come and cover your activities.
Them Rafiu.
Rafiu and Adu. And then you beat them up, stabbed our cameraman.
Wow.
So the damage that they did at the injection station alone amounted to about 185 million. And what
that shows that they are lawless.
No, they are not irresponsible. You cannot do that. You can't take the law into your hands. You can't take the law into your hands. And what they are saying, nobody, the Ilesha High Court gave a verdict that they should go and give them light.
Oh.
And they are saying the equipment that should deliver light to them
has been damaged.
Has been damaged. So there's no way we can give light unless those things are bought, that they can't even be repaired. You have to buy new ones. So they've come up with a bill of about 250 million. Is it Osun State that will go and bring? This is not the first time they will attack staff, electricity staff. During the time of Simbo, Aregbesola, it happened. Aregbesola had to take care of the cost. You can't keep attacking electricity staff. Pay your bill. And if you are denied electricity, then you should not respond by simply getting violent. Because this is the situation that we find ourselves now.
I'm just reminding my people in Ilesha.
No, look at the man. No, you know the situation of the state. You know the state.
Talk to your voice.
What do you do in a situation like this? The state is broke. So the governor had to quickly shut down all the tertiary institutions in the Ijesha land, so that the thing would not escalate.
Very stubborn people.
Why are you calling up? You see more stubborn
the thing is, why we blame...
You saw the video. I don't know why we cannot play that.
Jide, why... Why we blame the youth? The intensity of the heat in the last 1 month is enough for you to ask questions and find out why are we not having electricity. I think those guys must have been pushed to the wall.
The problem of us damaging
their this
it's
thing.
not the problem of discourse alone.
Damaging the installation.
If they don't have transmission, if they
they went above their limits by going to damage the
and they beat up our own people.
Yeah, you see, some of these guys, you see, mob action at times you cannot control.
Honestly.
Now, to even pin anybody down. But now, is it the government that will go and pay for the 200?
So they will stay in darkness for
a long time. Because if you channel that 200 and something million, if the Osho State government, if they channel
they
it,
can build health centers with
this. They can do so many things.
Than people just getting high and destroying. And
you know these drugs are so cheap now. They are cheaper than drinking beer.
Honestly.
You just buy the tramadol now, ingest it. It's cheaper.
Tramadol is even the ones they sell in plastics these days. I had one this morning. It's like they have. I don't even understand the name. I think it's some of our friends. Bamidele Johnson should know the name.
But I think it's not exclusive to.
Arizona and the rest of
them. I think some people, even around Lagos, they've made it a point of duty. Anytime they see, like NEPA officials, not all NEPA officials, PHCN officials can go to Mushin. There are some areas that they
people
can't go
want
near.
to use electricity. You know, I talked about it. Even where you put prepaid meters, people bypass the prepaid meters. You want to use electricity without paying.
You want to use your deep freezer.
Without paying. And you are the same person who will come out and say, no, they've not given us light. These people are useless. Oh, they can't give us light. Meanwhile, you are prepared to steal electricity. I mean, you cannot. All these Nigerians who are misbehaving, who do not think that they should pay for energy, if they go abroad, they know that it's inevitable. They must pay.
And it's expensive.
Because the system ensures that you can't even steal it.
It's not possible.
So, resorting to self-help. Now, I think they've seen clearly now that this the solution is to simply go and buy these things to replace what has been damaged.
I'm telling you.
This guy is insisting. I wish Jide best of luck tomorrow against Baka. So
that's another.
Yes.
Well, the people who refuse to wish us good luck before the PSG match, who thought that PSG will roast Manchester United. They were tongue-tied after the match. And when after we won the match, they will say, oh, your jubilation don't do.
Jide, I'm wishing you best of luck against Baka tomorrow.
They will say the same thing tomorrow. By the time we win, all of those people on Facebook who harass me, by the time we win, you will see now that it will be a nasty night for them. They will not be able to talk.
Okay. Well,
I will sentence them to early bed.
Best of luck to the Red Devils tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's it on Journalist Hangout. I want to thank you, Mojib Jamiu. Thank you for being part of this episode. And the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. It's good to have you back.
I agree too.
And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. And we're also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzubahu. Bye for now and see you tomorrow.